Start investing in gold and silver at sdbullion.com today and join over 35,000 precious metals investors who have made the switch to the lowest gold and silver prices in the industry. SD Bullion recently claimed a spot on the prestigious Inc. 500, making them one of the fastest growing bullion companies in the United States. With low bullion prices and over-the-top customer service, SD Bullion is setting the standard for precious metals transactions. Visit www.sdbullion.com today. Start saving on every precious metals purchase you make.
Hey everyone, this is Elijah Johnson with SilverDoctors.com, and with us today is Bill Murphy from the Gold Antitrust Action Committee and La Metropole Cafe. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here, EJ. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. And while we're just starting the new year, did you want to share with the viewers your outlook for precious metals in 2017?
Well, it probably won't surprise anybody, but it wouldn't surprise me if gold didn't go back to its all-time highs and silver takes out 50 on its way to 100. It's been way too long. These prices are artificially low. They're ridiculous, and the recent takedown after the Trump win was all orchestrated. We could get into that, and I think there was a big reason for it.
Now, as for, I know the last time I had you on, you were talking about how the gold cartel is covering its shorts and is setting up a move to the upside. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, it seems to be lost as we're now almost 2 months after the Trump win, unexpected, and absolutely no one in the world, nobody, predicted what would happen after he did win in terms of the Dow and gold and silver, and it went exactly the opposite direction. And in my opinion, it was all orchestrated to change the market commentary about what's coming because they're afraid of what's really going on behind the scenes. And they wanted to boost the confidence of everybody in the world, and taking gold down is one method to do it. And in addition, and hopefully what we're beginning to see, is that they realized to save the system, they have to inflate the system. And that meant that the gold cartel forces, which had all-time high short positions in the middle of last year, want to get out of their positions before this happens and inflation kicks in. And so they buried the gold and silver markets, destroyed the sentiment, the specs. I mean, they made a fortune in the process. Gold and silver collapsed. And now in the first 3 days of the year, we've gone up, and gold's trying to make a move. And all of a sudden, the dollar, which took off after the Trump win, all of a sudden is under a lot of pressure. I mean, today it's down a whole point. This is a big, big move. And my guess is that they know and that gold and silver are going to go much higher, as mentioned, and that people are going to be stunned by how high they go this year, and just at a time when a lot of people have given up, and there's almost no bulls in the mainstream gold world. I mean, a bull is $1,300 gold, for crying out loud. So we'll see, but I'm sticking to my guns, and hopefully we're beginning to see that scenario unfold.
So you said that the powers that be, in order to save the system, they need to inflate the system. Can you expand a little bit on the reasoning behind that and why you think that?
Well, yeah, because that basically they're going to have to. I mean, look what even Trump is talking about now in terms of things that normally Republicans would be horrified by. You know, they're increasing spending, cutting taxes, debt going bananas. It's already at our Fed debt at $20 trillion. It just seems to be lost, and no one seems to care. And they realize because of all the issues going that they're going to have to inflate the system, and people are going to understand that. They're going to keep prices to go up so that all of a sudden, markets don't collapse. And in that, they couldn't have a more bullish gold and silver scenario. And that's what I think they immediately came to mind to them once Trump had this unexpected win, what they were going to have to do and going to do, especially in light of even what he was saying. So you saw that, the Dow obviously took off first and gold and silver were killed, but all of a sudden the implications of all of this are I think, going to take hold. And I think that's going to be the surprise, and you'll see gold and silver take off. I know, I'm especially bullish on silver, and it's got to get through 1720 to even get started. And 21's the key. If it goes through 21, they should lose control, and I think the upside price action will be much more volatile than it's ever been in history because they will have hit the tipping point, and they just have to let it go.
So you see kind of kind of a repeat of what we saw in 2011 with gold, hitting like 1900, silver almost $50, but then
I think it could break through 50 this time, and once they lose control of it, they're still there. I mean, today was another pathetic example of how they're all over the silver price. Gold soaring, and you could just see them. It's obvious. As soon as gold dipped, silver lost half of its gains, and they've been at this for a long time, but they are going to reach a point in which they will not be able to do it anymore, and they'll be forced to give up. And I think breaking through 21 will be a sign of that. So, yes, I think the upside action in both precious metals can be much more volatile than we've ever seen before.
If you see precious metals, maybe hitting new highs this year, what do you see for the physical market? Do you see shortages coming? What do you see?
Well, the question is whether all the shenanigans are going to be exposed in terms of hypothecation and claims on the same physical gold by different people that have sold it and told people they own stuff that they don't. You never know when that scandal is going to erupt and kick in. It could happen. We just don't know how close we are and what other things happen in the markets to create demand that overpowers what I call this gold cartel. And you just never know. It's very possible that things like that could happen. And I think you're going to see, again, volatile price action. And if something like that occurs, it will make it even more volatile.
Now, as for the stock market, where do you see that going?
A lot of smarter guys than me can give you opinions on that. I mean, I don't know. We see what they've done. A lot of smart guys in our camp think it could collapse. If they inflate the system, though, you never know what money might flow into other assets. So, I can see both scenarios, and I try to stick with what I think I'm really comfortable with, and that's what gold and silver are going to do, and that the gold cartel is going to reach the end of their line with their physical supply and what they've done for so many years, and that this was going to be a game changer, and I think it's going to be breathtaking as the year goes on.
Now, moving our focus a little bit back to the precious metal markets and the intervention in the precious metal markets. You've talked about before how the Fed manipulates the gold and silver markets. Now, recently, Congressman Thomas Massie and also Congressman Rand Paul are making an audit the Fed bill again. Now, it seems like there might be new hope for this because there's going to be a Republican House and Senate, and Donald Trump has been critical of the Fed in the past. What do you think are the prospects for the audit the Fed bill, and could it expose the manipulation that you've talked about?
Well, the real question, I guess, is how much physical gold does the U.S. really have? I mean, they say they have 8,135 tons or so, but for crying out loud, never to have an audit of anything, for 50, 60 years is ludicrous. And as my colleague Chris Powell says, the United States government, Fed, would rather have our nuclear secrets be divulged than really what's going on in the gold market. And just recently there was a WikiLeaks communique that CP put out that revealed why the gold futures market was set up in the first place, and that was to create volatility at that time, but way back when, to keep people not wanting to get into the physical gold market. And it's the combination between them and the bullion dealers, which the State Department really showed, is exactly what God has been talking about all these decades later. And so they don't want it revealed what they've been doing in the gold market, and that includes the silver market. So I think, for most people who won't understand that in terms of a Fed audit, but why else would they want a Fed audit? What else hasn't been audited in 50 to 60 years? It makes no sense. Will it happen? I would love to see it, of course, but usually when it gets back into a committee or when Trump gets into power, he realizes who's running the show behind the scenes. They'll tell him what's what, and then I see it having a tough go, but there's always hope.
All right. Well, Bill Murphy, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, did you want to share with the viewers where they can find you and any last thoughts you had?
Well, find Chris Powell, my colleague, at Gata.org and sign up there. And you can sign up for a 2-week free trial at La Metropole Cafe to see if it's of value. And just I think to end this nice interview is I think we're going to have some real surprises this year after some very long years and a lot of frowns. And I think that by the time this year's out, there'll be a lot of smiles.
All right, Bill Murphy, once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, EJ. Talk to you soon.